Hi and welcome back to Cheeky Crypto. My name is Nick and today guys we're talking all about XRP. There's a few things going on in the news. We're going to jump into some of that. We're going to be taking a look at some on-chain data. We'll also have a look of course at the charts, reviewing the price action and where I think things are heading. As I get into today's video, if you do find it useful and informative, smash that like button. I really do appreciate that. If you are watching on YouTube and you're not yet subscribed, what are you waiting for? Check that out, subscribe, tap the bell, select all the notifications and you will not miss another video update. If you're watching on X, then why not go and make sure you give us a follow and a retweet. Really do appreciate all those things. Really helps push the content out to more like-minded individuals. Okay, guys, let's jump right down into today's video, starting things off, I think, with the technical analysis, and then we'll build up into the news, on-chain data, and a few additional things there. Let's start with our 1 hour time frame. So here we have XRP paired up with USDT. We're on the Bitget spot exchange and the 1 hour time frame. Now here we can see that we had that idea of a short position. It's still very much alive and valid. I'm just going to actually extend this out. It has obviously taken quite some time to play out. This isn't unusual. We are obviously talking about a big move here for XRP, talking about the move down towards 35.19 to 39.236. And you know, we do have some interesting things with that structured move. We know what's going to break it is going to be up here at 59.739. Okay, so we're looking for that. If we want to be bullish on the market, we're looking for that break upwards. If, however, we are to continue our move to the downside, and we're right in thinking that we've started our fifth wave move, then yeah, we're going to probably see a little bit more slippage in the price action for XRP. Now, we did have our brief target range up here for a bit of a move upwards in the last XRP video that I did. I know JB's done a couple in the meantime. We've got the 53.830 towards 54.391. Now, we actually came very close to this. We did rally up to the 53.650, and then we started to get rejection from here. So there's a couple of things. We haven't broken the lows since this move, so it's still possible that we rally up and hit this range before we go down. That would basically make it a big three-wave pattern that would look like this. And so you can see that we can still have that amount of move here. And then we can break on down. Okay, so that's option number one of kind of what could potentially be going on there. However, if we zoom in here, I want to kind of take stock of this particular position with what's going on right here. So I'm going to just go measure this distance here. We're going to basically pull this to the bounce, which happens to be here. I'm just going to check that wick. It comes in a high of 53.179. And we can see that we just missed that 1.618. So it's not an impulsive trigger. Okay, that basically means that this move is deeper than 1.236, deeper than 1.382, makes it a W, X, Y, X, and Z pattern right inside there. So it's corrected. It does not give us the idea that we are, starting our next impulsive move to the downside. Now, it is possible that this becomes a contracting or expanding diagonal because they do not meet those basic requirements of 1.618 like you do with an impulsive structure. However, if I start to draw these trend lines on just to kind of get that idea flowing, we would look at this one as a slight expansion, but that fifth wave wouldn't really meet our normal expectations of it. However, it meets the technical requirements. If I go ahead and just check this, we do come down just, and it's going to be fine tuning this because we want to be as accurate as we possibly can. Let's go ahead and just make sure we get that right on the wick there. He says if I can actually grab the Fibonacci retracement, which I can't without clicking off there. There we go. Let's try that again. Bring this in here. Okay, and what I'm going to do is I'm just going to check. I did it again, didn't I? There we go. We want that on the wick high just here. This wick high being 52.090. So right there. And then we check to see whether or not this has gone down deeper than the 1-to-1, and it has barely, right? So this was 50.808, and you can see that we came down deeper with a low of 50.792. So technically speaking, it can be a expanding diagonal pattern within this pattern, within that kind of structure right there. Okay, so it's a possibility. It's one of those things where we'll kind of see whether what happens next is going to confirm that. Anything above its high, which would be here at 53.650, would basically mean that no, it's a WX, YX, and Z. So it can be read in two different ways at this point in time for where we currently sit with this one. So a little bit of caution there. Can be a couple of different things. We'll see over the next kind of couple of days, over the weekend, where that kind of forces the price action, where price action basically forces the structure changes. If we do break up higher, then of course, we have our higher target here for that big kind of three-wave pattern. And if we, in fact, we break down lower than the swing low at 50.327, then essentially that's going to confirm that, yes, we are in fact in the wave 3 of the wave 5 to the downside. A little bit complicated, I know. It's not as easy as just drawing a trend line on a chart and saying we're going to the moon, or we're going to I don't even know, where you would say it's opposite to the moon, going and crashing down to the earth. Like essentially, we need to get confirmation, right? It's not as simple as just drawing a trend line on. At the moment, we are in higher highs and higher lows, and these do have a tendency to break on down. And likewise, you saw here with the lower highs and the lower lows, we break upwards. So right now, we're in the opposite of kind of what we would normally expect for a move to the upside, because essentially we have here the higher highs and the higher lows, and that will have a tendency to want to break on down. It's also expanding out, by the way. So for the most part, we are where we are with this one. We'll keep a close eye on it. We lost a little bit of strength there as well. So we could be coiling up for a move to the downside. I do suspect we are still going to be looking for a move to the downside. It's just a case of letting those structures play out and getting confirmation. Take this up into the daily time frame, and you can kind of see where the ideas are here. We are tracking this kind of 5-wave move to the downside. That's actually needs to be moved. I think we kind of had that as a nested position as well, with a 1, 2, kind of 3, 4, 5 just inside that wave 3, overcomplicating things maybe a tad. But we can see here on our daily chart, we are getting rejected on the 200 EMA at the moment on the daily time frame. It's not a good look for XRP. The price action on the 50 EMA does look like it wants to steer on down, where we are looking to drop down lower than the 200 EMA over time here. So for the most part, we are still targeting out those lows. We're targeting 30 to 33 cent. That's a previous area of consolidation where we're hoping to find support. It's almost a complete retracement of the 3-wave move to the upside that we've seen as well on the daily time frame. Not much has changed over the last couple of days when it comes to the price action on the daily time frame, other than the fact that we started to move back up on our stochastic RSI, which is not a good look for the future of the price action for XRP. Now let's go ahead and take a look at our 200 EMA on our weekly chart, right? So here we have the XRP paired up with USD this time, and we're losing the Bitstamp data. And the reason I've got a data change here is because of some news that kind of came out, which is about Golden Cross, right? So we have basically the 50 EMA. Let me see if I can make this really, really big so you can kind of see what we're talking about right in here. So I'll see if I can find, can I? Yeah, right here. There you go. So that there is a golden cross according to the news article. Basically, the short-term price action is crossing above the longer-term price action. And this typically is seen as a bullish movement within the price action of an asset, right? So normally you look at these things, and also these golden crosses can appear and can have different setups as well. So it doesn't always have to be EMAs. Sometimes it's moving averages and so forth. Sometimes they actually put analysts put the moving average over the EMA, the exponential moving average, and so forth. And so there's lots of different kind of angles on this. So the news was talking specifically about EMAs, so I thought I'd draw it up on here as well for you guys. It does not work the same way on the USDT pairs. It has crossed way earlier on USDT pairs. This is specific to the USD pair, which essentially just means that there's people out there just looking for narratives that might be able to get clicks on things. Maybe I did a good job on the thumbnail this one. I'm yet to make the thumbnail, so you let me know if you think that was clickable or not in the comments below. But for the most part, when we take a look at our data here, this idea that we're actually going to find a bounce, right? We're going to find an upward move because we've kind of had this golden cross. These kind of things are, very easy to understand, right? Short-term price is now greater than the longer-term price. But for the most part, we've not seen any kind of logical reason. Now, the other part of this I want to kind of talk about a little bit is that these averages, they are only looking at the history. They're not really giving you predictive capabilities in the same way that you do have with something like Elliott wave theory, where if you do something, you expect a result to occur. Here, when you've got these EMAs and you've got these moving averages, there's speculation, okay, that's not really well documented, that basically a golden cross means price will move upwards, right? And so what it tends to do is it creates FOMO and thinking that there's going to be a bounce, which actually creates the bounce in itself. Now, when it comes to Elliott wave theory, you're actually tracking people's behavior, and it's noted and well documented that if you see a specific type of structures that retrace to a very specific Fibonacci level, then you get another wave to basically mirror the first one, for example. And so, for the most part, Elliott wave theory predicts the future by looking at the current behavior of people, which is slightly different than looking at these EMAs. Not too dissimilar, because again, you're tracking people's behavior, and when you see these crosses, the idea is that people are going to behave in a bullish way. But this isn't something that is that well documented and has a whole theory built around it, and it is also isn't documented in the sense that it happens every single time these things unfold, right? Whereas Elliott wave theory is very black and white. If this, then that, and if it doesn't occur in that particular pattern, it means that you were wrong about how you drew up the waves. The waves are absolute; they are always correct, right? And so Elliott wave theory is complex rather than just taking a look at EMAs and things like that. But for the most part, gives you that additional benefit of predictability. Whereas we do not see the predictability here from these cup and handles, the head and shoulders, and the moving averages, because they have fail rates to them, right? And so we mentioned this here being a bullish indication, but I'm not so confident because we're already tracking our impulsive breakdown moves to the downside, meaning that we're probably more than likely going to see this cross into a death cross going lower than the long-term moving average. Kind of going on a little bit of a rant there, but we're going to go and jump up into the world of the news and the data to kind of talk a little bit more about that. So let's go ahead and do that, right? So we're going to start things off with the on-chain data. So membership.𝗕𝗘𝗪𝗀𝗀𝗧𝗧𝗧𝗧𝗧𝗧𝗧𝗧𝗧𝗧𝗧𝗧𝗧𝗧𝗧𝗧𝗧𝗧𝗧𝗧𝗧𝗧𝗧 here we hold a lot of things, lots of benefits for our members, right? And I'm not going to rattle through them all in this video. But this is essentially the home of the data for the on-chain elements for XRP. We do offer a 7-day free trial across all the plans. So if you do want to kind of take a look and dive around at things that we have to offer, why not check it out? It's 7 days free. And if you don't like it, then just go to your profile and cancel the subscription. If you do not cancel, you will be charged. But why not go ahead and check it out? It's 7 days for free. What have you got to lose, right? In here, under the data zone, we've got XRP on-chain data. I'm going to go ahead and load that up. So we end up with this. Right, so here what do we have? Well, there's a few things that I need to check on inconsistencies wise, because it says the all-time high is at $2.32. It's actually higher than that. So I need to check the data source on that one. Again, this is all coming from multiple different data sources, and it's being aggregated together by me and then analyzed by me. And obviously, this is the incorrect all-time high. So I'm going to check the data sources to figure out why they've got the wrong all-time high, and then get that rectified. It could be a calculation error or a aggregation error on my side, but I don't think that's the case, because it is a direct query at the end of the day from who should have the most amount of data. So anyway, kind of digressing down, we're 84% from the all-time high. If, of course, it's $2.32, which is not, it's actually higher. So therefore, our percentage down is significantly more than that. We can see that we have the average transaction value of $6,000. The total number of fees that were paid in the last 24 hours was $1,000 for 847,000 transactions. It's absolutely astonishing just how good of a blockchain the XRPL is. It is doing a very, very good job at basically moving money around, and it's very obvious when you take a look at the data right here. Now, when we come on up, we can take a look at wallets, right, and the amount of accounts that exist for XRP. If we come back to the overview, you can see there are 4.7 million wallet addresses, right? And if we come into the actual wallet counts, we can see we bucket the number of wallets by the amount of XRP that they hold, right? And so there's 10 wallet sizes in here, everything from the low side at 0.001 all the way through to 10. And all of those are discounted because for a wallet to exist for XRP, you have to hold a minimum of 20 XRP in that wallet. And when it's in there, you can't withdraw it. So basically, it's kind of irrelevant to be looking at anything that has 0.001 all the way through to 10 XRP because, they just accounts anyway. Greater than 100, though, this is where really things start to kick in. And we can see that there are 1.5 million addresses that have over 100 XRP. And they're up quite aggressively, 21% in the last 365 years. 1,000 XRP is 845,000 accounts, and it was up 28.89% in the last year. 10,000 XRP, 273,000 accounts, and it's up at 31% in the last year. 100,000 XRP, 33,000 accounts, 19.79% up in the last year. And 1 million XRP or more, 2,119 accounts, up 12.71% in the last year. So what we know here is essentially that there's a lot of accumulation happening for XRP over the last 12 months or so, and not so much in the last kind of 3 to 6 months. Actually, not so much accumulation has been happening there on the larger side, just the retail side. But for the most part, we actually do see and have seen a lot of accumulation on XRP during the bearish markets, which is good for the future of price action of XRP, in my opinion. Now, as we kind of come up into the kind of the news elements here, this one caught my attention a little bit, which is that Ripple is Ripple heading for a resurgence or further downside. And what's interesting about this, of course, as I mentioned, was the idea that there is this golden cross, right? And again, looking and tracking those price movements of XRP, I do not expect us to see a resurgence with price to the upside. Instead, I think we're likely to see a continuation of this move to the downside. And so a golden cross or not, however you want to look at it, and it's probably been hunting for a way to find something that looks like that, but for the most part, not so good. Now, we do see a $1.5 million XRP purchase when it actually created a bit of buzz in the community, basically suggesting that maybe things are looking really good. And, what do we actually see here is just, one transaction straight up, straight back down again. So I'm not reading too much into it. It's $1.5 million. It's a great amount of XRP, but it's not like the be all and end all when it comes to trying to drive price action. A bit of accumulation for sure. The other thing that kind of jumped out at me, I should say, is the SEC attorneys that are stepping down, new lawyers coming in. And, it's very much something that's been going on for a while here. We obviously said that the lawyers, when it comes to the SEC, have kind of made a bit of an embarrassing show so far. They've not been doing very good jobs, in my opinion. But this is something that I've been saying since 2020, as we kind of went into 2021, with everything that had to be redone and documents kind of rehashed and so forth with mistakes on them. And so it was kind of a shit show essentially. So it doesn't surprise me that they're stepping down. Obviously, this kind of allows the XRP community to get a bit of a buzz going. Saying maybe a settlement or something else is happening here with a Ripple win and all that kind of stuff. I still think that it's going to either end in a settlement or a Ripple win. I do not expect the SEC to win. Although if they add some decent lawyers into the mix, maybe that's going to change things up a little bit. And the way that it had been going, it wasn't looking strong for them. So for the most part, very, very interesting stuff. Now, just let's come back into that data and let's talk a little bit around exchanges, right? Because we see $1.6 million of liquidations on XRP. OKX is the exchange with the most amount of liquidations for XRP at $666,000. Currently, that's 42.86% of long positions have been wiped out and 57.14% of short positions have been wiped out. This is because we've had that move to the upside. OKX represents 40% of all liquidations, Bybit 28%, Binance 23%, CoinEx 3%, and it basically just goes down into nothing afterwards. So a lot of liquidations, I guess, $1.6 million worth. Nothing terribly too unusual with the exchanges that we see in the top listings here, but it's an interesting one to note because when it comes to exchanges, Bitget is my go-to platform. I use Bitget for 100% of my leverage and 90 to 95% of my spot trades. And if you haven't yet signed up to Bitget, what are you waiting for? The affiliate link is in the description down below. If you do use that link, you are eligible for up to $8,000 of rewards, depending on how much you deposit and trade on the platform. But it isn't, Bitget's not the only platform I use, right? I think it's important that we kind of spread the risk to as many different exchanges as we possibly can. I use Bitget as my go-to at the moment, but if something were to go wrong with Bitget, I have access to more exchanges as well. Binance, KuCoin, Gate.io, Coinbase, Crypto.com, MEXC, Bybit, you name it, I'm on it. And essentially this is because it's a good strategy, in my opinion, to make sure that I have access to as many of these exchanges as I possibly can. More links for these can be found in the description below. So although Bitget is my go-to platform at the moment, do not be fooled in thinking that I'm only using Bitget. I have access to as many exchanges as I possibly can as a part of my strategy. If you want to know more, join us down in Discord. Don't forget to sign up to Bitget because, why not? There's some fantastic offers there, and it's good to make sure that you are familiar with how all these platforms work. get yourself set up on as many as possible using the links in the description below. As we kind of progress through, we can take a look at some of the trades that we've kind of been talking about, specifically this one here, right, where we did start to kind of talk about a short. Now, I didn't get into this short on XRP, but I'm leaving it here just to reference kind of where we were when we were talking about this move to the downside. I was hoping to jump in on this one. I kind of failed to jump in because I was literally just not looking at XRP at the time, and we started to come on down quite aggressively. We're looking for this move to the upside. If we do come up towards that, then I will jump into a short. If we just break on down, I'll wait for a long position to open up. I probably wouldn't be looking for shorting the market. So for the most part, this is still valid. We are still looking for the move to the downside. We want the stop loss to be above the swing low for wave one, because that would break our structure if we were to rally up higher than 59.739, and our take profit is all the way down here at the 39.2 area. This basically means a pretty significant drop from our entry when we're talking about that, which is about 27% without leverage. Add some leverage and we are talking some pretty juicy gains. Now, essentially, when it comes to trading like this, we do not need many X's in terms of leverage, just a little bit. Maybe a 5X is probably plenty because of the percentage drops that we're talking about here. So giving yourself plenty of breathing room with the stop loss, getting plenty of margin covered in there, and we could do a trailing stop if we wanted to as well, to kind of just make sure that we can kind of work this one down as best we can. So yeah, for the most part, that's kind of where this one sits. It's still looking very, very good. I'm just waiting for confirmation to make sure that we are in fact dropping into the wave 3. Of the wave 3, of the wave 5, because it's nesting down quite beautifully in my opinion. If of course we get this break upwards first, then actually that's the point where we want to be entering into a new short, basically at the same entry that we currently got in at over here theoretically. That will allow us then to really take into that next wave 3 drop, which will be a very significant one in my opinion. I'm going to leave this video right there though, guys. If you have found it useful and informative, smash that like button. I do appreciate that. If you are new to the channel, then why not go ahead and subscribe, tap the bell, select all the notifications, and in doing so, you will be kept up to date with everything that we do here at Cheeky Crypto. With all that said, done and out of the way, I hope everyone has a fantastic day, and I'll catch you all in the next one.